What's up guys, Rumjing here, bringing you another Armor Core 5 Design Corner. Today I'm going to be talking about tanks. Now I've actually been putting this episode off for quite a while now, because I've been thinking of how to kind of tackle it. Because the thing with tanks is that they're really more defined by their weapons than their builds. Because there's really only three types of builds. There's the light, the medium, and the heavy. And what you choose is really based on how much speed or how much defense you want your tank to have. So I'm going to do this episode a little differently than I do my usual ones. I'm actually going to only lightly touch over the topic of the build and then just go straight to the weapons. Alright, so for this build, we've got the Siegfried head, very good defenses. For CE head, better than the Fuchsie or Beowulf, slightly below the Roland, and it's got a lot of the same stats as the Beowulf. If you can see here, it's got the camera performance actually higher than the Beowulf, so it's overall a good head. We have the KT-302 core, which is a CE core. It's got high defenses and it's got really good AP, about 200-300 more than a standard KE core. Kind of low on the recon units, but it's not too big of an issue. We've got the Sever arms. That's basically to get all the defenses in the right places. To get enough KE to block out the Tansies. As you can see there, we have 1820 KE defense. And then here we have the 93/A legs, which are the heaviest tank legs, I think. Actually, it's not the heaviest tank legs, but it's the best heavy tank legs. Using it, you can buff out most of the weapons. As you can see, KE 1820 buffs out all rifles, and CE 2636 buffs out all battle rifles, which are two of the big killers, I think. And then for FCS, we have the Glance. It has decent lock-on size, lock-on range, good lock, and second best lock-on computation, I think. For the Generator, we have the Son. Use it mainly for the high energy capacity, and it's really good for tanks because tanks don't drain that much. Through all the patches, I think the tank legs are the ones that got touched the least because overall they just don't drain too much, which is a good thing. And the Sohn Generator is usually best for what a tank needs over, let's say, the Progny or the Hovital. Simply for the matter of fact that it doesn't need to use wall hops. Okay, for Recon we have the EA, because as you saw earlier it only has 25 units. So by equipping the EA, you have really long operational time, which means that each individual recon lasts for a long period of time. Now here we are to the weapons. Now this is the most important part of a tank other than the build, or probably more important. But the thing with cannon weapons, which is all these weapons in the lower half of the list, cannon weapons are basically stronger versions of regular arm weapons, but the thing is that you can only use them while moving on a tank. If you try to use it on any other leg type, let's say bipedal or quad, you have to actually get into what's called ready position, which is you have to stay still, stop moving, and then you go into first person mode and then you can shoot the cannon. With a tank you don't have to do that. You can just move and shoot like any normal weapon with it. And what I have right here is a cannon tank. It uses the cannon weapons, descriptions right here. Fires a high velocity, high power shell. It's basically like it's like the sniper rifle, it's like the cannon version of a sniper rifle. If you look at some of the stats here, the KO-9K2, which is the best cannon to use, it's got 1000 muzzle velocity. It has 4400 attack power. That's higher than is possible to get a KE defense. I mean, higher than any KE defense you can possibly get. I think the highest is 2900, so it's way above that. Its impact force is 3100, so it doesn't matter what it hits. If it hits something, it's probably going to get stunned. And if you look at the reload and the base lock-on time, it's pretty good. The reload time's 106. That's actually much less than a sniper rifle. Let me scroll up real fast. It's like, actually, here we go. Sniper rifles get around 200 to 300 lock-on time, as you can see here. And in comparison, you know, it's got 106, so it's got half the reload time of, you know, a sniper rifle, so it fires pretty fast. Base lock-on time 262. It's a little higher than a sniper rifle, but you do using dual subcomputers, as I'm using here, the Dynamad subcomputer, and dual shoulder arms. It fires very fast. It's almost instantaneous lock-on. Some of the other possible cannons you can use is the Azalea and the Unanimous, but that's mainly if you really want to go more for ammo than anything else. I only have base ones right here, or I don't remember what these are, but I think these are rapid fire versions. But cannons can get around between I think 2500 all the way to almost 5000 attack power, which means they do great damage per shot. And by far, as I mentioned earlier, the KO-9K2 is the best all-around cannon. The only real downside to it is that it only has 20 shots, but that's more of a balance thing, because, you know, you don't want a weapon that can do 4500 damage per shot and stun, and that have good stats like these to have too much ammo, so that's more of a balance thing. And as I mentioned before, have Dynamad subcomputer just to increase the lock time. And for the back weapons, I have Kurosawas. Now, there's actually two reasons for this. One reason is that they're good one-hit weapons. Anything you weaken with the cannons, you're going to be able to finish off pretty easily with the Kurosawas. And you actually have 6 shots, or no, not this one, forget what I said. But you have only 4 shots, but like I said before, since you're going to be weakening someone, they should be pretty vulnerable to it, and you should be able to kill them with maybe 1 or 2. The other reason is that the Kurosawa is quite heavy. It weighs about 1,000. The reason why people equip this is that it also increases the recoil resistance of the AC, which makes it less vulnerable to stun to weapons like the Oxeye or the USG 11H shotgun, which basically, if your AC's recoil resistance is lower than a weapon's impact force, it's going to stun you, or stagger you as we call it. And what it's also going to do is lower your defenses by 20%. By having the Kurosawas on, it adds a lot of weight and adds a lot of recoil resistance to the AC. Because tanks are actually quite weak to stun. They don't really have that great of a recoil resistance. So just having it on there, so, you know, it's usable as a one-shot weapon, and it also increases the weight you need in order to get better recoil resistance. Right, and that about covers a cannon tank. I know I covered this on the heavy legs. I'll probably be covering the medium and the heavy on different videos. But also what I'm going to be doing different for this video is that instead of having a video at the end showing, you know, it in action, I'm actually going to do a few more of the tank videos covering some of the other weapons, and then I'm just going to do one big video showing off all of them. Just trying to do it a little differently, or a little more efficiently, and basically make it easier to kind of just see this stuff in general. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, obviously, and if you have any builds you would like to see me use or show off, please let me know in the comments. This is From Chang, signing out.